हेलो संजय जी, आई थिंक वी शुड स्टार्ट.
सर स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं।
Yeah. So you make it live. Good evening, India. So myself, CA Bikash Bogi, and I welcome you all for this webinar on faceless appeals of income tax before CIT appeals. So in today's webinar, I'm going to discuss many technical issues, technical complexities, and practical issues faced by practicing chartered accountants and tax consultants all across India. Before in this session, I will try to cover all practical topics, and after the session, I would like if audience is having any questions, then I can take the questions at the end of the session only. You can type your questions in YouTube chat box, and I will cover all the question after my session. I personally believe that after completion of my presentation, I will cover all the question which is coming in your mind. Yeah. Before coming into the session, so I want to ask one question to all of you. What was the most short buzzword across the world 4 years ago? Any guess? So this word was none other than COVID-19. So entire world was facing lots of difficulties and lots of problems. If I want to take only one positive thing out of this entire COVID-19 scenario, so this only one thing which is positive in case of COVID-19, it is forced adoption of digital technology across the globe. It was not even in my wildest dream to think that I will do my entire practice completely remotely through work from home. But COVID-19 forced me to learn these things and to do my work 100% remotely from work, from my home. Before understanding nitty-gritty and intricacy of faceless appeals, you need to first understand what was the scenario when these appeals were done through traditional mode, that is physical mode. So in my today's session, I'm going to take explain everything with the practical example so that you can understand it in a more better way. So let's presume there is a company registered, their registered office is in Kandivali, Mumbai, and as per their PAN address, their ITO jurisdiction is Bandra Kurla Complex, Mumbai, BKC. So in case of this company, there was a one scrutiny order passed by the ITO, and ITO has made an addition of 1 crore. The company CH filed an appeal before CIT appeal. I am talking about the traditional way of appeal before faceless. So suppose that CA has filed the appeal. After filing of appeal, after 1.5 years, the from the office of CIT appeals, they were sending some hearing notices. In many of the times, what was happening that wait a minute. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. So many of the times, what was happening that from the office of the CIT appeals, they were sending some notices to the registered office of the company, and in the meantime, suppose from the date of filing the appeal and from the date of date of sending of the notice, the company were changing its registered address. So many times, what was happening that due to this issue, due to this issue, the notice to the company get unserved and it result into ex parte passing of order by CIT appeals. Suppose in another scenario, suppose the CIT appeals office has delivered a notice to the appellant address. Then the CA or tax consultant of the appellant company went to the office of the CIT appeal at Bandra Kurla Complex, Mumbai. And when they reached there, they found that there is long queue. They were waiting for their turn. And once their turn came, they entered into the cabin of the CIT appeal and they were discussing the matter personally, face to face with CIT appeals. During the course of discussion, CIT appeal were raising a couple of questions, and if the answer of those questions were not with the chartered accountant, then the CA was asking for certain dates. So normally, in case of physical appeals, they were taking too many dates, multiple physical meeting, multiple physical hearings between taxpayer and CIT appeals. Apart from that, there was a drawback of the traditional appeals that there was long waiting time, long traveling time. One of the and one of the more bottleneck about of the traditional appeal was that subjective and varying interpretation by CIT appeals in case of couple of issues where courts had taken different view, but CIT appeal was taking a different view. So there was no clarity, no transparency in deciding the appeals when there were certain legal issues. And at times, record keeping were also very difficult, and there were very long disputes between the appellate authority and the appellant company. So, what was the aim behind the introduction of the faceless proceeding? What was the need of the government of India to bring this faceless proceeding? First and foremost, reduce the human interface between CIT appeal and the taxpayer. This was the most common thing. Second item is ensuring transparency in the proceeding. Third item is increase in efficiency of the tax administration. So I will explain all these aims. So in my subsequent slides, then you will understand its importance. So I'm not explaining in detail it now. To ensure the proceedings are technically sound, taking a consistent view on various issues, and to avoid prolonged and unwanted litigations. Now I'm coming to Faceless Appeal Scheme 2021. So in this scheme, how this appeal mechanism is working. So you need to understand. I've given one example that the company registered in Kandivali, Mumbai, and as per their PAN jurisdiction, earlier their ITO and CIT appeal were sitting in Bandra Kurla Complex, Mumbai. So in the faceless appeal regime, there is one central nodal agency that is called National Faceless Appeal Center. Its head office is in New Delhi. After that, they have divided entire India into four parts: east, west, north, south. And for each division, they have allocated many appeal units. So what is the appeal unit? So earlier there were physical CIT appeals. So like in Mumbai zone, there were 60 CIT appeals. So all these CIT appeals has been converted into a particular appeal unit. Like many appeal units were there in Bombay, Ahmedabad, Pune, Surat, Nasik, or any other places, all across India. So suppose in my case, my client's case, they have passed an order making an addition of 1 crore. Client's registered office in Kandivali, Mumbai. So they are now filing the appeal in the faceless regime. So when I will file the appeal, this appeal will go to National Faceless Appeal Center, Delhi. From there, they will allocate, they will use data analytics and AI. Nowadays, AI is the buzzword. Everybody is talking about AI. So let me tell you that in India, the most advanced AI is getting used by income tax department. So they will use this AI and data analytics to transfer this case, my client's case, to a particular zone or division. Suppose they have transferred it to a south division, and from the south division, the appeal got transferred to an appeal unit located in Lakshadweep. Why I have talked about Lakshadweep? Because I want to promote Lakshadweep like Modi ji has done in the past. So I'm located in, my client's registered office is located in Kandivali, Mumbai, and their appeal unit, their CIT appeal is now sitting in Lakshadweep. And this process is entirely through AI. When my appeal went to the appeal unit, then they will issue the notice and I can seek personal hearing through video conferencing. How I will do the communication in the faceless proceeding? It is very important. So in the faceless proceeding, there are certain do's and don't. So a taxpayer need to do certain things. What they need to do, they need to update their email ID and mobile number in their income tax profile. Also, they need to update email ID and mobile number of their chartered accountant or tax or authorized representative. If you will update this, then what will happen? Whatever notices, so the communication shall be made through income tax e-filing profile only. So in the income tax e-filing profile, there is tab called e-proceeding. In the e-proceeding tab, you will find that I filed the appeal. I will find my appeal document there. Whenever appeal unit located Lakshadweep will issue a notice, they will upload hearing notice in my income tax e-filing profile only, and I can check that they have issued a notice. The moment appeal unit will upload a notice in the income tax e-filing profile, from the income tax system, appellant companies and their authorized representative both will get an email. Also, appellant company and AR will get an SMS from the income tax department that they have shared some notice, so kindly check it and proceed it. How to file an appeal before CIT appeal? So this is the good question. So the appeal should be filed within 30 days from the date of service of assessment order. But in the faceless regime, assessment is taking doing through faceless mode, appeal is going through faceless mode. So how you will decide what is the date and time of service of assessment order? The moment the date and time of receipt of email from income tax department shall be treated as date and time of service of assessment order. So you need to file an appeal. So form 35 is the appeal form. So you need to file form 35 in the income tax portal. Along with form 35, you need to submit certain details. What is those details? Statement of facts, grounds of appeal, assessment order, notice of demand. And apart from that, you need to pay certain prescribed appeal fees, which is ranging from 250 rupees to 1000 rupees, depending upon your case. Drafting of statement of facts and grounds of appeal. So you need to critically understand that what is statement of facts and what is grounds of appeal. In case of couple of my clients, so I've received some of the appeal document from some practicing chartered accountants. So what they did, so they got confused between statement of facts and grounds of appeal. So during the course of filing the appeal, the things which was supposed to do write in the statement of facts, they have written in grounds of appeal, and the things which they should have write in the grounds of appeal, they have written in statement of facts. So when you are drafting statement of facts, you need to understood what you need to write in statement of facts and grounds of appeal. Again, statement of facts is most important aspect in the appellate history. So why? Because if CIT appeal will dismiss your appeal, then you will go to ITAT, and in case of ITAT appeal, when you will file the appeal before ITAT, the document which you will submit before ITAT, appeal memo before ITAT, assessment order, form 35, statement of facts. This statement of facts will be submitted before ITAT also. That's why this is very important. So how you will write the statement of facts? So you need to first bring out genuineness of your client by providing its background. How you will write genuineness of the client? Suppose there is a company who is clocking a turnover of around 50 crore every year in last 5 to 7 years, and they are paying a tax of around 5 to 7 years. So when you will write a statement of facts, then you need to write the appellant company is showing a turnover of 50 crores in last 50 to 5 to 7 years, and they're paying a tax of around 5 to 7 crore in last couple of years. The moment you will write it, it will give a positive impression in the mind of appellate authority that this SSC is a genuine taxpayer. They are paying huge taxes in last couple of years. Second thing, you need to highlight all factual, clerical, legal errors in the order. You need to read income tax order critically to identify all these errors. If there are these errors, you need to note it down all those errors, and you need to write down those errors one point by point in the statement of facts only. Then state the details filed with the AO. Suppose there is addition of section 68 in the appellant case. So you need to note it down which document you have submitted before scrutiny, before the ITO. You need to note it down. You have submitted these documents. And if you have not filed some document before ITO and those documents are necessary, then you need to also note it down that why you have not filed those documents and what was the genuine reason for non-filing. You need to explain this in detail. And apart from that, you need to elaborate the legal contentions. Grounds of appeal. So when you are writing the grounds of appeal, suppose there are multiple editions. One edition is section 68, one edition section 14A, and so one edition share premium. So you need to note it down 68 separate ground for 68, separate ground for 14A, section ground separate ground for share premium, like this. Actual figure involved in dispute should be also stated in the gripe. Highlight the main issue. It should not be vague. Suppose, let me give you an example how you should write grounds for appeal. Suppose there is an addition of rupees 1 crore on account of section 68, and you have submitted all the details, but income tax officer has not considered those details. So in the grounds of appeal, you will write that learned assessing officer is grossly erred in making an addition of rupees 1 crore on account of section 68, completely ignoring the details filed by the appellant. You need to write this one sentence. The moment you will write this one sentence, you will cover everything. Apart from that, you need to raise legal grounds related to limitation, natural justice, jurisdictional issue. What is limitation? Suppose in case of a scrutiny order, the last date of passing of a scrutiny order is 31st March, and the income tax officer is passing the order after that date. That means the order passed by the ITO is time barred. So you need to raise the issue of limitation before appellate authority. Natural justice. What is natural justice? Suppose in the month of March, 10 days before the closure of the assessment order, so ITO has sent a final so cause notice on 20th March, and they have asked you to submit bulky details by 22nd of March. They have given you only 1 day's time. You were trying to compile the details, but you were not able to compile all the details. That's why you will not able to submit those details, and ITO has passed the order. So you need to raise this question, they raise this point before CIT appeal that during the course of assessment proceeding, uh, learned assessing officer is not given proper time and hence violated the principles of natural justice. Jurisdictional issue. Many times, in case of reopening proceedings, income tax officer is raising, income tax officer is passing the order. In case of reopening, Reopening, many times reopening notice need to be issued by the faceless unit of the assessment, but instead of faceless unit in reopening notices, if reopening notices is issued by the jurisdictional ITO, then there is a jurisdictional issue. You can raise this kind of point here. Condonation of delay. This is very important point. So what will happen if I have not filed the appeal within 30 days? I have missed out a date. Is my case finished? Can I file the appeal with condonation of delay? The answer is yes, but there should be sufficient cause for the delay. If there is a delay in filing the appeal, you should write a separate request to CIT appeal and you should attach separately along with Form 35. In your request letter, you need to write the reasons why the appeal filing got delayed. Also, you can attach some affidavit for delay in filing of appeal. So based on my conversation with many practicing chartered accountants and tax consultant, I have jotted down couple of technical issues which every practitioners are facing. So whether delay on part of the consultant in filing the appeal is a sufficient cause. So suppose you are a company, you have given the assessment order to your CA to file an appeal, and somehow CEO tax consultant from the tax consultant office, the appeal filing, their staff missed out the filing of the appeal. Whether this is a sufficient cause, can you say CIT appeal case boss, I have given this appeal filing to my tax consultant and he has not filed appeal in time. Can I take this plea? Yes, you can take this plea. So there is one Supreme Court decision in case of Concord India Insurance Company, and there is one Bombay High Court decision in case of Vijay Visin Meghnani. In both these cases, court has taken a view that it was a duty of the consultant, tax consultant, to file the appeal on time, and merely because the consultant had not fulfilled its obligation on time, for which the appellant should not be penalized. So if there is a delay on part of the tax consultant, you can take the plea. Another question: if the appellant check the email of the assessment order after 30 days from the date of receipt of email, is it a sufficient cause? So many times what is happening that the income tax department is sending email assessment order through email, and this email is getting dumped in the spam folder of the appellant company, and they get aware only after 3 to 6 months. Then what happened? Can I take this plea that sir, this email from the income tax department went into my spam folder and I have not seen the assessment orders, so kindly condone my delay? Is it a sufficient cause? So again, one Delhi ITAT in case of Muhammad Salim come to the rescue of the appellant, where the Delhi ITAT is given a principle that since this faceless mechanism is totally new, many of the people are not aware about this fact. Hence, the appellate authorities should take a conservative view and should give a benefit of doubt to the appellant and admit the appeal and dispose the appeal on merit. Another question: is length period of delay is material? So the answer is yes. So far as faceless regime is concerned, so length period of delay is material. So suppose if there is a delay of 30 days or 3 months, so and on there is a delay of 2 years or 1 year, so there will be a fair chance to get the delay condone if there is a delay of 1 to 3 months, and there will be very tough chance to get this delay condone if the delay is more than 1 year or 1.5 years or so. Written submission. So this is the most important aspect of your appellate journey. So when you are being a practicing chartered accountant, tax consultant, if you are handling your client's case, so you should know that how to write the written submission in the faceless regime. Because if you prepare return submission in a proper manner, then you will then half of your journey is done, more than half of your journey is done. So based on my 15 years practical experience, so I've jotted down couple of pointers which everyone need to take care of while preparing the return submission. So how you will prepare the return submission? First, provide the background of the appellant company. So in my earlier slide, I have explained how to provide the background of the appellant company. Then you give the brief facts of the case. When you are giving the facts, you need to give crisp, concise, and actual facts. Only write the facts which you can substantiate with the supporting documents. Your return submission, when you are drafting the return submission, you need to draft return submission ground wise. Suppose there is addition on 5 grounds, so for each ground you need to draft return submission separately. Like if there is addition on 14A 68, so there will be separate section. Ground number 1 14A, you write your submission. Ground number 60, ground number 2 68, write your return submission like this. Legal grounds related to limitation, natural justice, jurisdictional issue, validity of order should be explained first. So all this terminology I have explained in my earlier slides. So if you find any of these issues, then you need to explain these issues in your written submission before start of formal written submission. First, you need to write these points in your written submission. For each ground, you need to provide detailed facts and relevant supporting case laws. Case laws are very important. Suppose in case of my client, their registered office is in Kandivali, Mumbai. So my jurisdiction is Mumbai, Maharashtra. So whenever I am preparing a written submission, I need to do the research, specific research related to case law, related to my facts and cases of Mumbai ITAT or Bombay High Court, because these courts are my jurisdictional court, and it is having some binding value on the appellate authorities. Attach every supporting evidence in support of your claim. So you need to attach all the documents in support of your claim. Factually distinguish the case law used by the AO in assessment order. Many times ITO is relying on certain case laws by for dismissing our case. So we need to distinguish each and every case law while preparing the written submission. The language should be very polite. So whenever you are writing a written submission, your language should be extremely polite. You should not fight with the you should not fight with the appellate authority. You cannot write, how dare you to make an addition in my case, how ITO do like this. Or so when you are representing your case with a judicial authority, appellate authority is more powerful than the income tax officer, so they are having the authority. So it is like a quasi judicial court. So you should maintain your decorum. So your language should be very polite. And if you and accordingly you need to write you in the your written submission. Provide conclusion for every ground. It is compulsory to provide conclusion for each and every ground. Again, and last but not the least, in every written submission, before signing, you write one sentence that kindly provide an opportunity of personal hearing through video conferencing. You need to compulsory write this sentence. Last but not the least, whenever you are preparing a written submission, you need to prepare an index. Suppose there is addition on 3 grounds. So ground number 1 14A, ground number 2 68, ground number 3 share premium. So for 1 2 3, so suppose ground number 1 you are attaching 5 documents, 14A. So the documents name should be A1, 14A for I will use the series A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. So you rename the files which you are going to upload in the income tax portal. A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and write down these things in the index. Then B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, then C1, C2, C3. There are certain limitations So we need to prepare this return submission. We need to upload all the documents in the income tax e-filing portal against the notice. The size of a particular file is 5 MB, so you cannot upload a file which is file having size of more than 5 MB. So if you are having bulky document, you split the document and you can upload in multiple parts. Suppose there are 100 files, so you can upload in 10 parts. At any point of time, you can upload only 10 documents in income tax portal. Suppose there are 100 documents, so you can upload all the document in 10 parts. Additional evidence. So suppose I have not submitted, I have given you an example that where in the month of March, assessing officer has raised a notice and I am not able to submit those documents with income tax officer on time. And those documents were very crucial in my case. So can I submit these documents before CIT appeal now? The answer is yes. You can submit these documents. These documents are called additional evidence. So Rule 46A of Income Tax Act provides certain criteria process for submission of these additional evidences. So you can submit these additional evidences before CIT appeal. So whenever you are submitting any additional evidences, you need to write a separate letter to CIT appeal requesting that kindly admit our additional evidence. We could not file the additional evidence before CIT appeal before income tax officer due to these reasons. And you can also include some case laws for admission of additional evidences. Can CIT appeal decide directly based on the additional evidences? The answer is no. CIT appeal cannot decide directly on the basis of the additional evidence. CIT appeal need to first send these additional evidences to the income tax officer for their comment. This is called remand proceeding. And the income tax officer will review these document. Income tax officer will give an opportunity of being heard to the appellant company. And once the income tax officer is satisfied, then based on his observation, income tax officer will send one report to the CIT appeal, which is called remand report. And based on the remand report and based on the counter reply of the appellant company, CIT appeal will decide the appeal. Hearing through video conferencing. So how you will do the hearing through video conferencing? This is most in critical aspect. So like when this faceless regime, faceless scheme came, I was also wondering that this is the name is faceless. So whether they will allow an opportunity of personal hearing. There were lots of debate about opportunity of personal hearing, will it be given or not given. But they have given the opportunity of personal hearing through video conferencing. So how you can get the video conferencing request? So in your income tax e-filing portal, in the appeal against the particular appeal tab, so you will find this window which is showing in your screen. And in the fourth tab is there seek video conferencing. So you need to click on the seek video conferencing, and then you need to submit your letter of authority or wakalatnama, and you need to submit it. Once you will submit it, then appellate authority, from the office of appellate authority, they will send you one notice, hearing notice. In the hearing notice, they will give you login ID and password for the video conferencing. So how this video conferencing will work? This will work like this the income tax department has developed their own software for the video conferencing, and this is similar to quite Zoom meeting or Teams meeting or Google Meet kind of thing. So it is similar to that only, and the interface is very good. So when you are doing the hearing through video conferencing, please note that this hearing is getting recorded. So whatever communication you are doing with the CIT appeal, this communication is getting recorded. And once the hearing will get done, you will get a link to download the recording. So that's why the hearing through in the faceless regime is so transparent. Whatever argument you are taking, so CIT appeal cannot ignore your argument. If you have taken one argument or if you have cited some case laws, CIT appeal need to decide whether he is accepting your argument or whether he is rejecting your argument. If they are rejecting your argument, then they need to explain it why they are rejecting it, because it is on record that you have raised this argument, you have submitted this document. Introduction of JCIT appeal. So earlier in the physical mode, earlier in the traditional way of appeals, when this faceless regime came, so all the pending appeals get transferred to this faceless regime, and there were lots of pendencies, and this pendency is still after 3 years this pendency is still there. So to reduce the workload or pending matters before CIT appeals, the finance ministry has brought down certain amendments, and they have introduced the concept of joint commissioner of income tax appeals. JCIT is having all the powers equivalent to CIT appeals. Which matter will go to JCIT? The matters which are having a low tax effect or low additions. Only those matters are getting transferred to JCIT appeals. Pros of the scheme. So what are the benefits of this scheme? So if being a practicing chartered accountant, if you ask me what is the most important benefit of the faceless regime, so I can say it saves me hundreds of hours of time. Earlier in the physical appeals for a particular matter, I was traveling to the office of CIT appeals multiple times. Now in the faceless regime, whenever there is a hearing notice, I am taking the hearing from my cabin. So, and whenever they have given the time, I am logging at that time only. So it saves my lots of time. Transparency of the hearing, integrity, documentation part, administration. So earlier we were submitting all the documents before CIT appeals in the physical mode. Now everything is there in the income tax e-filing portal. I cannot in the department authority cannot say that boss you have not submitted these details. I can say that sir I have submitted these details on this date. Why this submission? You can check in the income tax portal. If I have uploaded something, department cannot deny it. And we can have a 360-degree view of the entire matter. Challenge. So what is the most challenging task? So many of the tax consultants are complaining that there is a communication gap between the taxpayers and the CIT appeals. So I personally believe that I personally does not feel like this, because in many of my matters I have attended the hearing through video conferencing mode, and I was able to explain the big matters in a shortest possible time to CIT appeal, and I got a favorable order. So if you have a grip on your matter, and if you know, so when you are attending the hearing before CIT appeal, so you need to explain your case in a summarized way. You cannot explain each and every item one by one. So you need to explain the summary of your case first before the CIT appeal, because you have already submitted your written submission, and your written submission should be like that. You have explained it everything, and if you think that there are some certain technical issues, you can explain it to then you can explain it to CIT appeal in the physical hearing. So I personally believe that there is no communication gap. Yeah. Second item is getting the date of hearing. So this is very challenging task. So in case of earlier physical appeals which got transferred to faceless regime, so in many of the cases the date of hearing is still not come, and taxpayers, tax consultants, companies are struggling to get the date of hearing. So whenever you are facing this kind of scenario, so there is one dedicated email ID. There is one dedicated email ID. In that email ID, if you send the email to the National Faceless Appeal Center along with your request letter that in my case kindly provide us an opportunity of early hearing, or kindly provide us early hearing. So based on your request, they will consider your request and they will provide you an early hearing date. So there are dedicated email ID, but you cannot and there are certain call centers number also, so you can connect with them. And so the email ID is samadhan.facelessassessment.appeal@incometax.gov.in. samadhan.facelessassessment@incometax.gov.in. So this is the email ID. So if you send an email to in this email ID, so I think then you will get response from them, and there is very likely chance that apart from that you can write a letter to your jurisdiction CCIT also for getting the early hearing. So in the faceless regime, what the taxpayer need to do to get a positive outcome in their appeal matters, or do's and don'ts. So what they need to do, so best practices for the taxpayers, that regularly check the income tax e-filing profile for any kind of notices and updates. Documentation, you should do a robust documentation when you are dealing with these kind of matters. Your data should be aligned with statutory or non-statutory authorities. Like, so if you have shown certain amount of turnover in income tax return, then this data should be linked with your turnover as per GST returns and other filings. Your return submission should be to the point, accurate. Email ID and mobile contact number you should regularly update. Again, important thing, best scanning practice. Since in the faceless regime we are going to upload all the document in the e-filing portal before CIT appeals. So whenever you are uploading the document should be legible to CIT appeal when they download from the portal. I've received couple of appeal matter where I've seen that some of the tax consultant has uploaded some document in the assessment proceeding, and that document were not legible through the naked eye. So you can imagine, you income tax officer asked you some document and you have uploaded some piece of document and that document is not legible. Then what income tax officer will do? He's going to make addition in your case. If he will not able to read the document, then he is going to make the addition in your case. Then you cannot blame income tax officer for the addition. So when you are uploading the document before in the income tax portal, make sure that each and every document should be clearly legible. So you need to adopt the best scanning practices. Whenever you are scanning the document, make sure that documents are legible, and for a particular document their size is not increasing to 5 MB. Even if the size is getting increased, there are various tools available in internet. By using those tools you can reduce the size of your document or PDF files. So based on my communication with many practicing CA or tax consultants, so I've jotted down couple of FAQs for functioning of this scheme. So couple of things I have already covered in my session. So just for the sake of repetition, I am again uh, noting it down. How we will get the hearing notice if the appeal is filed physically and not yet disposed? So I have already explained that you need to send one email to the dedicated email ID for the faceless regime, and you need to explain that why early hearing is necessary in your case and what kind of difficulty you are facing. So you need to make a genuine case, and you need to pray that please provide us an opportunity of early hearing. In case of electronic communication, what would be the time and place of dispatch and receipt? So in case of electronic communication, as explained earlier, so the date and time of receipt of email from the income tax department shall be the date and time of receipt. Whether the CIT will need to follow the ruling pronounced by the High Court of the other physical location or jurisdiction. So in my case, company registered office is in Kandivali, Mumbai. My CIT appeal is located in Lakshadweep. So CIT appeal will follow the decision of Lakshadweep court or the courts of Maharashtra. So in this case, CIT will follow the decisions of jurisdictional high court or jurisdictional ITAT, that's Mumbai, Maharashtra. Which bench of income tax appellate tribunal now have the jurisdiction to adjudicate appeal arising out of order passed by national cases? Suppose CIT appeal has passed a negative order, then where you will file the appeal? So again, your jurisdiction is of Mumbai, Maharashtra. So in Mumbai, Maharashtra only you will file the appeal. So with this, I'm concluding my session. So if you guys are having any queries, so you can write down in the your YouTube chat box. I will read all the questions one by one, and I will take the questions. So what I'm able to see, so there is one Megha Kalra. So Megha is asking one question that SSC is not filed return under section 148 on time. AO has rejected the late return file under section 148. Okay. So what can be the ground of appeal? So your AO, so you can file the appeal, but AO has rejected your return, but he has not made the addition. You can file the appeal against the rejection of the order, and then you can say that there was genuine reason for not filing the appeal or not filing the return on time, and our appeal and you can ask a direction from the CIT appeal to direct the AO, or alternatively you can file and later under application under section 264 with CIT. So I personally believe that you should file application under section 264 before the jurisdiction CIT rather than filing the appeal. Because if you have a genuine case, you file an application before CIT and you meet the CIT, then will CIT will there is a good chance that CIT will direct the AO to regularize your return. Yeah. So another question, Megha is also asked another question that why filing application for additional legal ground of appeal? Can serial number of other ground of appeal could be rearranged? Yes, you can rearrange all the grounds of appeal. Suppose so just for the sake of understanding, suppose there are four grounds. There is one ground 14A, second ground is 68, third ground is share premium. So what you can do, suppose in the 14A you need to write you want to add some legal ground in 14A. So 14A, suppose ground number 1 under 1 1.1 1.2 1.3, you can write the legal ground under 1. Then you can take 1.2, then you can take another ground for 68 2, 2.1 2.2 2.3, then you can write 3 3.1 like. So if you are raising all the issues, if you are raising all the issue under section 6 under one ground, so you write down all those things under one broader ground, 1 1.1 1.2 1.3 like this. Yeah. So there is one more one question. Puneet Mirani is asking, request you to guide in cases where Form 35 is not filed properly. Not all grounds are covered and some other technical legal mistake in filing of Form 35. So yes, so you can file you can file an application with the CIT appeal that your chartered accountant or tax consultant has done some mistake while filing the appeal. So and you submit your revised form 35, and I think if there is genuine ground and if possible you enclose affidavit of your tax consultant or legal representative. So I think based on your application, CIT appeal will consider your case. So next question is again, it's a Puneet Mirani. So can appeal submission, additional submission made immediately after enablement of window, or we need to wait for hearing notice and then submit? So what should be the ideal approach? So what I am following, I'm sharing my practice with you. So What I do, so when I prepare for the appeal, I tell my team to simultaneously prepare for written submission only, because that at that time the matter is fresh in my mind. So whenever I file an appeal, so within 15 days of filing the appeal, I finalize the written submission, I keep it with them. The moment I got a hearing notice, I submit the written submission along with all documents, so that I don't need to take adjournment with the CIT appeals. Yeah. Das Khanna and Company is asking one question. Request for additional should be in the body of written submission or through separate application. Okay, request of additional evidences. So you can write in the main written submission also, and you can write separate letter also. So there is no specific form or kind of thing. So it is up to you. You can include in the written submission also, and you can write it. You can write a separate submission also for additional evidences. Yes. There is a recent CBDT guidelines for priority hearing and disposal. So, to time, CBDT is issuing certain guidelines for disposal of the matters, because thousands of crores of tax demand is stuck in the appeals. So, Finance Ministry is taking it very seriously, and time to time, CBDT is issuing notices. CBDT is issuing guidelines for disposal of the matters. So, Pradeep Shah is asking, quantum appeal allowed in full, but penalty appeal not disposed since 3 years. What to do for favorable disposal of penalty appeal? So you can write a letter to the faceless appeal regime that uh, you can write you can write one letter to the faceless regime that in case in our case addition so you brief your case and tell them to give your penalty appeal on priority. So once they will give your appeal on priority, then they will they will give you the date of hearing. So I think once, I think since you got your quantum appeal disposed on merit favorable, then I think you should follow up with the National Faces Appeal Center as well as the jurisdiction CCIT for to get the date of hearing at the earliest. So Sarthak R Krishnan, how much is the pre-deposit required? So let me tell you one thing. In case of indirect tax appeals like service tax or GST, there is a pre-deposit requirement. But in case of income tax appeal filing, there is no requirement of pre-deposit. Yes. But if there is a demand in your income tax scrutiny, and if you want to get that demand stayed by income tax department, then as per the CBDT guidelines, you need to pay 20% of the disputed demand to keep the recovery proceeding in abeyance. 20% pre-deposit is the condition for keep the recovery proceeding in abeyance. If you are not paying that even 20%, then you need to file a separate letter with the jurisdictional ITO to keep the demand in abeyance due to certain reasons which you need to, suppose in your case there is a high pitch assessment, department has made huge addition, and you feels that this addition is wrong, so you can try to file an application to the ITO for keeping the demand recovery in abeyance till the disposal of appeal by CIT appeal. But department will insist you to pay 20%, and then only they will give you stay on 80%. So there is no pre-deposit for filing the appeal before CIT appeal. You can file the appeal just by paying appeal filing fees and other documents. So I think there are many questions for this only, pre-deposit only. Let me. Hmm. I think I've covered the pre-deposit part. Uh, Pre-deposit is not required. can Form 35 be revised? So there is no option of revision in Form 35. So per se, so if there is any technical or clerical error in Form 35, so you can file a separate letter before at the time of hearing before CIT appeal, requesting them to consider your revised Form 35. Prakash Kothari has asked one question: are the adjournment granted by CIT appeals? Yes, in the faceless regime, they are granting you the adjournment, but it is strongly advisable not to take adjournment in case of faceless regime. And if they are giving you the adjournment, so they will give you adjournment only for 15 days. So if you are filing the appeal in the faceless regime, please make sure that immediately after the filing of appeal, you prepare your written submission, make it ready, so that you don't need to take adjournment from CIT appeals. Because many times what we have faced, that we have taken that some of the CEO tax consultant has taken the adjournment, and they got subsequent date of hearing very late. So if you want to dispose your matter early, then don't take adjournment. Puneet Mirani has asked, within what time after CIT appeal hearing and submission order is passed? So let me tell you one of the cases which I've handled. So in one of my clients' cases, there was huge addition made by the London assessing officer. So I've attended the hearing before CIT appeal, and I've repeated the case. I've uploaded a written submission, and I have taken the personal hearing through video conferencing. I have explained my case briefly. CIT will understood that there was a genuineness in our case, and within I think within 1 month, within 1 month we got favorable order. So normally the order are getting very fast in the faceless regime in comparison to traditional regime. So I think I have covered all the questions asked by many participants. So still, if you have any questions, so you can write down. I've given my email ID. So just for this, so again, I'm so still if all of you is having any questions, so you can note it down my email ID. So my email ID is given here. I've shared my screen, or if you can connect me on LinkedIn also. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you.